Bukayo Saka has left the building, but have I gone Heung-min Son or Cole Palmer in? I'll be telling you in today's show. Welcome to the Gianni the Teacher YouTube channel, by the way. If you're new around here, please do hit that like button. But honestly, if you're new, do hit that subscribe button as well. It'd mean a lot if you want to show your support in that way. But look, we're going to talk captaincy. We've got some defensive data, loads coming up in today's show, so stay tuned. But without further ado, let's have a look at my team. So this was the bus team that I presented earlier in the week. We're going to take Saka out because I've sold him. We're just going to put a question mark on Saka. But everything else is fairly locked in, right? So Sells in goal, the back three of Trent, Rico Lewis and Mikalenko. A bit of a benching headache. We've got Gabriel there, first sub. Greaves, third sub. He's injured. And Burmo is in. Foden and Rodgers. Let's hope I get a Foden start. Dibbling on the bench. And then up front, we've got, so it's a 3-4-3. Haaland, Solanke and Calvert-Lewin. Mr. XG himself, the biggest XG underperformer of Game Week 8. He hit 1.3, but still couldn't hit a barn door. Thank you, Dominic, for that. So look, we're going to talk about my Saka replacement in a second. Spoiler alert, I've already told you, it's going to be Palmer or Heung-min Son. But first, I just want to touch on some defensive data because I was just doing some research this morning and it was quite interesting. I filtered this table by expected goals conceded and Nottingham Forest there are third best in the league so far. In terms of goals conceded, they're joint second. Nottingham Forest defence is just a big thing that jumps out when you see it. Like you expect to see on defensive charts, Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool. Arsenal actually aren't on this. This is the top six. They will be, of course. But it just made me think because I had a Sells haul, 11 points from Sells. I haven't got much right this season, but my goalkeeper Sells on wildcard has been one. And I just think if you're shopping for a budget defender or goalkeeper, look at Nottingham Forest, guys. So just wanted to touch on that. But look, let's get into the juicy stuff. Before we do, OneFootball, a shout out to you guys. Thank you, OneFootball, for sponsoring this YouTube channel. You guys know, like, I love OneFootball. I approached them and said, look, I use your app on a daily basis. It makes sense if I could talk about the app a little bit in my YouTube videos. So if you haven't already given it a go, it's great for football news, any football stories from the world of football, not just Premier League, but video clips too. And you can also now watch Serie A live on the OneFootball app. Yeah, if you're in the UK, you can stream 8 of the 10 games each round, each weekend, on your OneFootball phone, on your OneFootball app on your phone. That's pretty damn cool, isn't it? So guys, thank you. As always, there's a link in the description, or if you've seen the QR code, give it a scan. It's free to download. You'll love it. Captaincy. We've got to talk about it because this is the third week now. Erling Haaland has blanked. Like, it was the right decision, the wrong outcome. But what we've seen with Man City is a big difference between game week 1 to 5 and game week 6, 7 and 8. If we look, I got this from Fantasy Football Scout, guys. If we look at game weeks 1 to 5 and then game weeks 6 to 8, just shot heat map. You guys know I like the visual stuff. I'm going to show you some stats in a minute, but the visual stuff, look at the shot map. Look where he's taking shots from. This is the first 5 game weeks compared to the last 3. Like, that's what you want to see. Of course, we saw loads of goals. And everyone might say, oh, no, Rodri, Man City are worse. Well, Rodri wasn't in the team much in the first 5 game weeks. I tell you who was, though, for the first 4, Kevin De Bruyne. And he's been out. And I think it's De Bruyne's absence, which is even bigger for Haaland than Rodri's. Maybe for Man City as a team, Rodri, we know. But De Bruyne's massive too. And because Foden's not been on song either, or getting many minutes, that restricts him. If De Bruyne's not in the team, you need a very good Foden in the team. And at the moment, Man City have had neither. That affects Erling Haaland. So, in game week 9, do we think we get Foden or De Bruyne? Yeah, we get one of them. Probably, surely we get one of them. But Man City haven't looked right. And because of that, I think it's really interesting to discuss captaincy this week in terms of triple captaincy because many looked at game week 9 and said, oh, triple captain game week 9. Southampton at home, match made in heaven, fewer doubles this year, an extra chip with the mystery chip, which we might want to use in a double as well. Maybe we have to use our triple captain on a single game week. Is this the week to do it? Not for me. Not a hope. I am going to captain Erling Haaland, guys, but only because of the fixture. The team against Fulham, against Newcastle, and more recently against Wolves struggled. And when we look at the data to back the shot map up, by the way, also on the Scout members area, you look at the greens there, like this is again comparing those 2 sections, game week 1 to 5 and 6, 7 and 8. His XG in the last couple of games has been next to nothing. Compare that to what we saw earlier on in this season. So just a thought there on Erling Haaland. But we should move, I guess, to the big talking point of the week, which is, Gianni, where are you making your transfer? So I made 3 moves last week, and I made them all a day early because I saw Solanke was rising in price. And because Solanke was rising in price, I wanted to leave myself the exact funds in the bank. So when we look at my team right now, the big Saka question mark, I have 0.8 million in the bank. The 0.8 matters. If I'd moved on the day of the deadline, Saturday morning, I'd have 0.7 in the bank, and I wouldn't be able to go Saka to Palmer in one move in game week 9. The plan has always been Cole Palmer. All my transfers in the last few weeks, certainly last week, the 3 I made, where Solanke, Dibbling as an enabler, and Foden came in. So the plan was always Cole Palmer. And then we saw Heung-min Son's performance, and boy was it good. Was that because Son has had a nice little rest and he comes back from the international break quite well, usually? Was it because the game state was perfect? West Ham scored early, Spurs had to go at them, and then second half was open because it was a draw at half-time, it was at 1-1 at half-time. Will we get that moving forward? Because we haven't seen that Son really this season. But I saw enough to go, I want Sonny in my team. And the way the fixtures go, look, we can look at their profiles, right? When we look at the Son and Palmer profiles side by side, we clearly see the fixture swing. You can see at the bottom there, right? You could look at Son and go, I need Son for the next 3, game week 9, 10, 11, especially the Ipswich game. And then I can move to Palmer, because Palmer's fixtures from game week 12 are really good. But do you need Palmer now? Maybe not. Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal. Do you need Son now? You don't need Son. They would both be nice. So it's a real 50-50 this, but I have made my decision. And let me know what you think in comments, guys. And if you're enjoying the show, do like. And please subscribe if you're new around here. So I'm looking at it going, okay, I need Son in. But, and there is a big but. 2 things happened on Wednesday. One, I saw that Palmer was due to rise in price Wednesday night. So I had to make my decision on Wednesday. Right? 10.8 million, due to go up to 10.9 million. I've only got the exact funds for Palmer if I go Wednesday transfer. So fine, that doesn't matter if I'm going to go Son. And if I'm going to go Son to Palmer in a few weeks, I'll have the money to make that move. But the more and more I look at it, so the first bit of news that I've told you, the second bit of news was Ange Postecoglou gave a press conference because Spurs play on Thursday night against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. And he said, firstly, we had a bit of an indicator. We saw a picture of Spurs training. There's only 2 players not in training, Jed Spence and Heung-min Son. So it's like, where's Sonny? We also know he went off at 69 minutes. Did he go off at 69 minutes because he was due to get a rest? Well, that's what we all thought because he's been injured. No, he went off because he had a little bit of a problem. I think because the headline from Sky Sports News and the quote from Postecoglou, Son was a bit sore after the weekend, but he was never going to play. So he was never going to play on Thursday. So he's been rested. I expect he's fully available for the weekend. Like, I'd be very surprised if he's not. But knowing he's been a bit sore and maybe got an ongoing problem, and knowing that I was torn anyway, and knowing the Palmer price rised, I think my hand might have been forced. I also look at the Palmer fixtures. And look, Palmer's fixtures are good. They're not great. They're not as good as Son's, but they're still good. I think Newcastle at home is a good fixture. I think Man United away is a fine fixture. The narrative there, by the way, is good for Palmer. Like, you can build it however you want. But Palmer used to be a Man United fan, which I quite like. And then game week 11's tough versus Arsenal, fine. But in game week 12, we're all going to want Cole Palmer. I might save myself the headache and just move Palmer in. So that's the decision I've made, guys. We can see my team. Saka out, Cole Palmer in. Now, what about Son? Do I get Son still at some point? Well, yeah, absolutely have that option. I can't get him in game week 9. Palmer's in. I can't get him in game week 10 easily. That's fine. But in game week 11, Sonny has Ipswich. I still might want him in my team. I'm not going to sell Palmer for Arsenal. I want Palmer as a long-term hold. But I do have a Phil Foden headache. I bought Foden in only last week. And I think the Wolves benching showed me there's something going on there with him and Pep. Something not quite right. Something that makes me not want to have him full-time. And when De Bruyne's back fit, Foden's going to be a real minutes risk anyway. So sure, I get Foden for Wolves, 4 points, happy enough. Gutted with the benching. If he starts versus Southampton this week, I'm happy. Whether he starts or not, I think he still might be a sell, maybe not in 10, but certainly in 11, because I would love to convert Foden to Heung-min Son. Now I need a bit of money to do that. But if I have 2 free transfers, because I roll in game week 10 next week, I'll be flexible in 11 to go, yeah, you need Son now. And I've had a couple more weeks eye test scout in Son, because let's not forget, he hasn't been great. He was great last time out, but he hasn't been. And I owned him for the first 3 weeks of the season. I did catch a haul against Everton, but perhaps a little bit fortunate too. Maybe by game week 11, I go, I don't need Sonny. I can actually go Brennan Johnson. He's been just as good. So let's see. I give myself a little bit more time on Son. I own Phil Foden. I have that spot as a possibility, right? As someone I could go up to. So let's see how I go. But I am using my transfer. I have used it. Cole Palmer is in the building. He's going to keep going up in price. He's over 50% owned. And I know in game week 12 I want him anyway. I'm saving myself the headache of having to get him in 12. Everyone watching this that doesn't own Palmer will want him in 12. And if you don't quite know why, just look at his fixtures. Just look at the Cole Palmer fixtures. They're actually ridiculous. Like, I can read them out. They really are. Like, in 11 he plays Arsenal, but from 12. This is from the 23rd November. I'm going to read you the fixtures all the way through to the end of January. They really are ridiculous. So look, from the end of November, Leicester, Villa, Southampton, Spurs, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. All the way to the end of January. He plays so many green fixtures. We're all going to want him in our teams. So look, that's where I'm at with Cole Palmer. The rest of my team looks fairly good. As I said, the Foden spot is up for grabs. If I need to get money from anywhere, I still have cash cows like Trent, but I hope to keep Trent. Calvert-Lewin could be on borrowed time after the fixtures turn in a few weeks' time. And Calvert-Lewin maybe after Ipswich could go. But let's see. Mo Salah is still worth keeping very, very high on our watch lists. If you've got a Haaland draft and you've got a Trent and you've got a Palmer, you probably don't have a Mo Salah in your team. But Liverpool have some good fixtures in their own right. In game week 12, they play Southampton. You got to think that's one you would love to own Mo Salah. So let's see. And as we go into December and January, the fixtures are really nice for Liverpool too. So watch this space. I can't see how I fit him in yet. I think the priority for me is Palmer, possibly Son for that Ipswich game in game week 11. And let's see where I land with Phil Foden, how long he stays. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I'll be doing my Sunday stream as always. If you haven't checked out my Sunday reaction streams, they're brilliant. It's a bit like match of the day for FPL visuals, and I go through game by game, data, XG plots, all that stuff. So come and see me on a Sunday morning if you fancy it. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Good luck this game week. Remember, it's a Friday deadline. Hit those buttons on the way out. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.